Howdy, guys, and welcome to night number 87 of the overnight feed recaps for Big Brother season 25. Hope y'all are ready for a fantastic weekend inside the Big Brother house. We had nominations yesterday. We'll talk about that. Today, we've got a veto competition, a very important veto competition for one or two people inside the house. But night 87, which means we've got 12 nights to go. It's going fast. We're going to be there before you know it. We're actually going to be there even a little bit faster because the CBS has announced that we're going to have a special Sunday night eviction where I think they go down from the final five to the final four to final three. I can't remember which it is now. So, but check your local schedule. But yeah, we are going to speed it up by 1 week by having an eviction on a Sunday night, which is fine with me. As you get to the very end, not quite as much conversations going on, strategy and all that when you have so few people in the house. So as much as I've enjoyed the season, we're getting right there with it, guys. All right. As I mentioned, we did have nominations yesterday. We've got a veto competition today. So let's talk all about all the conversations that did occur, because there's certainly some people that are scrambling, some people that are practicing or thinking about their very end game strategies, who they want to sit in that final two chair with. And so let's talk about it all. Let's start off with Cirie and Matt. Certainly, Matt had a few one-on-one conversations, not as many as when you've got 14 or 15 people in the house, but he did have a couple of one-on-one conversations. Cirie was the first in line. I think she actually double-dipped him. She got two conversations with him, but we'll start off with her first conversation. Cirie is talking to Matt. She's reminding Matt that he had said that he would never put her up. Never, ever, ever. Never is a dangerous word to put out there in the game of Big Brother, but she's reminding him that he did say that. She's also mentioning that Riley is watching him. So she brings that up a little bit, and that she tells him, she says, anyone else, I would expect that maybe they would turn on me and do something like that. But you, Matt, I would never expect it from you. So you said you never would. Just don't break that vow, right, Matt? So she's trying to guilt him a little bit with that. She does say, or actually, Matt trying to respond at one point says, well, I can't put up Jag. And she's saying, Bowie Jane can go up. She says, if Bowie Jane wants to be part of the four, and she's talking about herself, Matt, Jag, and Bowie. So if Bowie Jane wants to be part of the four, she needs to be part of the team. She needs to take her shot up on the block. Matt's not really responding too much to that. He does say that, or Cirie says that if Bowie Jane goes up, I know no one wants to go up. She says, but if Bowie Jane does go up, we control the vote. There's Jag and I both get to vote, and we'll keep her. So she's safe. There's no way that Bowie Jane's going home. She just needs to be willing to take her turn. So Cirie certainly does not want to be on the block. I don't blame her at all, especially at this point in time. But he's not saying no, but he's not saying yes either at this point in time. He's just kind of listening to her. All right. We then have the first, I think, official one-on-one. And this is, no, I take that back. Let's have this conversation first. We've got Felicia and Bowie Jane talking a little bit. Felicia is still questioning why everyone was going after her in the HOH competition. And we heard a little bit more about what this competition actually was. It wasn't where you pick the next person to compete and you kind of declare loyalties that way. It sounds like this one may have been more scrambling, putting balls into someone else's bin or tube, or somehow basically casting a vote for the other person. And we've seen these before, and whoever's tube or bin gets filled up first is eliminated, has to stop. And so everyone decides who they want to go after. And Felicia's upset that apparently everyone was going after her. I'm sure she and Cirie, I would think she and Cirie were going after Jag, because we've heard mention that Jag was eliminated pretty quickly as well. And then Felicia was as well. I think if Cirie was going after Felicia's, we would have seen a whole lot more discussion between these two that we haven't seen. So I imagine Cirie and Felicia going after Jag, Matt, and Bowie Jane all going after Felicia, hence Felicia being the first one out. She's trying to figure out why in the world was everyone focusing on me. Well, does that maybe tell you something, Felicia, about how nominations are going to go later today, and when you may be leaving the house? Just maybe has some kind of hint to that. But she is wondering about that. All right, let's talk about the first official Well, no, I just keep wanting to get to it. Now, another conversation. This is Matt and Bowie Jane. Matt is complaining that Cirie is making him feel bad, talking about what he had promised her in the past and about Riley and all that. He's saying, yeah, she's just doing everything possible to make me feel bad. And she's saying that she would have never put me up. But Matt is correctly pointing out, saying, yeah, but she's never been in a position to put me up. It's easy for her to make that promise to me. Not so easy for me to fulfill my promise to her. So he is a little bit perturbed that she's reminding him of that. Bowie is reminding him that Cirie wants to make sure that only one of Cirie and Felicia are on the block, because that way, if only one's on the block, let's just say, for example, only Felicia's on the block. Cirie gets her way. She doesn't go on the block. Bowie Jane is pointing out that if Felicia's the only one up here, and then Cirie was to win veto, she could pull Felicia off the block. You can't put Cirie up, Matt, which means you're forced to then put up Matt. You're forced to put up Jag and myself, Bowie Jane, and one of us goes home, and Cirie and Felicia then control the vote on which of those two want to go home. So she's explaining to Matt that if Cirie gets her way, if you keep her off the block and put me up as a pawn, you run the risk of them sending out Jag, them sending out me, and you have no control over it. It all comes down to the veto competition. Great point that she has made, and it works. Because Matt immediately says, I didn't think of that. And now that I realize that, there's no second guessing. The two of them have to go up on the block. So when he first talked to Cirie, you didn't hear that commitment from Matt. Now he understands how important it is if you don't do that. So yeah. So yeah. It sounds like Matt has pretty much decided at this point in time. All right, we've got Felicia and Matt now talking. So now we're getting to the official one-on-ones. I knew I'd get there eventually. We've got Felicia starting off a one-on-one with Matt. He's telling Felicia, he's saying, I'm just going to cut right to it. You and Cirie are going up. He says, I can't do anything about that. Y'all are going up. But what he's telling Felicia is that even though both of y'all are going up, Bowie is the actual target. I just need to have Bowie Jane comfortable. If she's on the block, if she thinks that she could be going home, she's going to fight for the veto so much harder. And we've seen that she can win a few things. So Felicia, I'm just letting her know that she's safe, but in reality, she's the one that's going home. But I got to put the two of y'all on the block. Felicia's not happy that she's going to be going on the block yet again. Setting the record, certainly setting the record for this season of how many times she's been on the block. So yeah, she's not feeling great. Then Matt follows it up as well by telling her, says, look, in a worst case situation, if we do this, the target's going to be Bowie Jane. If Bowie Jane still wins the veto, if it just happens to be that she wins this thing, you're still going to be good, because at that point, then she'll keep the noms the same. We're going to send Cirie home. I want to work with you, Felicia. Trust me, I want to work with you. So you're safe either way. Either Bowie's going home or Cirie. And so Felicia's still trying to figure out a way out of this. Felicia reminds him at one point that she says, back in week 3, and I think that's when she was HOH. She says, back in week 3, I said that I would never put you up, and I never did. And Matt saying, well, yeah, appreciate it, but I'm putting you up. So week 3 is a long time ago, Felicia. But yeah, he's kind of who the target is. Not quite truthful with her, but certainly he's letting her know that she is indeed going up. But then they finish this up by talking about, I think it's mainly Felicia brings up final 2. Do what you got to do. I'll play my role, but at the end, final 2, you and me, Matt. So she's still thinking she's got a position here. I don't know if Felicia truly believes everything Matt's throwing at her or not, but she's keeping a best face on it as she walks out the door. So there you go. So now Felicia knows that she and Cirie are going on the block, but that Bowie Jane is the target. All right, now we've got have one-on-one number 2 between Matt and Cirie. At this point, Matt basically starts off the same way, says, look, you're going up. I can't do anything about it, Cirie. Yeah, I know. I told you never, ever, never would I put you up, but you're going up. He says, but just as bad as it is that you're going up, just realize you are going to be absolutely fine. There is no way you're going home because Felicia is the target on this thing. He says that that if he put Jag up, if I just start off, so we put Jag up, then Jag's immediately going to know something that is up. And at that point, he would play so hard in the veto. And, we can't have that, Cirie. So I'm just doing it because I don't have any other choice. He's saying, but the simple plan is that Felicia is going home. That's all there is to it. Felicia is going to go home this week. You should be fine and safe. He says, now, if I was to win the veto, or Cirie, if you were to win the veto, well, then maybe we can make a big move. And the big move they've talked about is the idea of then pulling, certainly Cirie pulls herself off the block. Matt at that point then puts Jag on the block, and they then send Jag out the door. Wouldn't that be a kicker, right? And I'm not sure that Matt is actually sincere about it, but certainly that's what he's selling to Cirie as a possibility to keep her on board, or more importantly, to make sure that if Cirie has a choice, she keeps Matt over Jag when it comes right down to it, which I think is a given. I don't think she would ever send out Matt first, but who knows? But he's telling her that, saying that Felicia is the easy plan. If one of us wins veto, then we'll talk about maybe doing a really bold move for the resume, so to speak, and would do that. But he says he is worried, having said all that, and that he's willing to consider it. He's also saying that he's a little bit worried that if he does take out Jag this week, he can't play next week. And then what would keep Felicia and Bowie Jane from then going after Matt as the next target? And he would be in a lot of trouble. So he's kind of hedging his bets, even as he tells Cirie that maybe he's willing to do something like that. Cirie does remind Matt that if Jag is here at the end, he's going to win it. You do what you got to do, Matt, unless you want second place, is basically what she's saying. That Jag will win the thing. And I don't think she's wrong. I think that's a valid point at this point in time. But I'm also thinking that you're almost locked in with what you want to do if you're Matt. I do think there's danger if you don't put Cirie and Felicia both on the block, that you could completely lose all control of your HOH this week. Which isn't to say that he hadn't lost a little bit of control with Jag helping him run it already. But she does remind Matt that Jag's going to win this all if they don't do something here pretty quick. And it's going to have to be really, really quick to do something. All right, we do have feeds come back afterwards. I think about 4:00 or so, Big Brother time. Feeds came back, and we learned that the nominations this week are Felicia and Cirie. Yeah, no surprises. We knew. When you come right out and tell the nominees that they're going up, then that's pretty much the thing. Now, here's the deal. Theoretically, the rules say you aren't supposed to tell people that you're going up. You can hint around at it, say, I'd be ready, or you certainly could be a target here. You're not supposed to just come right out and say you're going up, because it takes away some of the drama and all of that. At this point in the game, it's not as big a deal, and it's not really enforced that much because it's so obvious. So no one's going to call out Matt. It's not the end of the world, but yeah, he had already told everyone they were going up, and sure enough, they do go up. All right, a little bit of conversations afterwards. A few things here now. Matt and Jag upstairs looking through the HOH fridge at some of the food he got and everything. Nothing too exotic or special about that, other than the fact that I learned, and maybe he said it before, but I didn't realize it. I learned that Matt does not like root beer. Yeah, he doesn't like it. I personally love root beer. I'm even a fan of sarsaparilla, which I don't even know if they make sarsaparilla anymore, but I absolutely love root beer. I'm just curious. Yeah, y'all tell me in the comments. Are you a fan of root beer? You can't stand it? I wonder, is that just root beer not as popular as it used to be? Yeah, root beer floats. I used to love them, but I'll drink it all by myself. Let me know if you like root beers or not as we get into kind of a little quieter evening. I'm just curious about that. All right. So they look through the HOH fridge. They're remaking Riley's Q-tip shrine. She made hearts out of Q-tips. Matt had said at one point he wasn't really sure if she'd intended to do that or whatever, but they remake her shrine using Q-tips. At one point, Matt says that looks a little bit more like Batman's badge on I think he said Batman's badge on the front of his cape or his outfit or whatever. He says it's like a guy's heart. But yeah, they've remade Riley's shrine. These shrines are really going too far. America had one for Corey, and then now we've got one for Riley. So they're having fun with it. They've got their Riley shrine. I feel like a music coming on board. So they've remade the shrine themselves. And later we find out that I think Bowie Jane took down America's shrine to Corey. So they don't last long. All right, we've got guys, Matt and Jag in the backyard, trying to grill in the backyard. They're basically showing that they don't have a lot of clues about how to grill pork or red meat or anything else. They just can't figure out how these things work at all. Felicia's the rescue. She comes out and explains it, what you have to absolutely positively make sure you cook correctly, other things that you get by with medium rare and all that, and talking a little bit about how you have to not cross contaminate. She's giving them a lot of cooking lessons that they apparently have not really dealt with before. They're just lucky that Felicia is still cooking for them. That Felicia, then they're cooking up fancy gourmet meals and just sharing it between her and, well, maybe not Cirie, maybe just Felicia loading up. She can fix some gourmet meals, just keep them in the pockets of her robe and just kind of throw it in their face every once in a while. But she's not doing it because she is trying to still stay on board with these guys. So she's helping them out as they try to figure out what it means to grill food out in the backyard. All right, later we've got Matt and Jag talking about how glad they were to represent their communities. And I was glad to hear this. Matt representing the deaf community, Jag representing the Punjab community and the Sikh community. Just as an FYI, a bit of a learning lesson. I've heard Punjab all the time. I didn't really realize what that was. It's actually a state in India, a pretty big state. That's right up against the border with Pakistan, and so you've actually got Punjabis that live in Pakistan and live in India as well. So it's a region of India, and then Sikh is the actual religion itself. So just a little learning moment from Cliff Notes on this Saturday morning. But yeah, Jags is happy to be representing both his religious and his geographical community, and Matt as well with his deaf community. Props to both those guys. I've loved seeing them get the chance to compete in this game and do well as well. So they're talking about that. All right, we've got Felicia alone in a dining room, looking at the memory wall, studying the memory wall, looking very forlorn. Yeah, I think she understands that no matter what people are saying to her, she may not be in the best possible position right now. So she's studying right up until the very end of it. We'll see what kind of veto competition this could be today. My final 5 veto competition during my season was BB Comics. So obviously they aren't going to get that. We'll see. We'll see what kind it is. But she is studying the memory wall just in case she needs that going forward. I kind of don't think it's going to, well, I don't know. I was going to say, I kind of don't think it's going to be that because we know there'll be a memory component of some part as part of the 3-part final HOH. So to have one right now seems very close together, but you never know this season. So she's studying it just to make sure she's ready because this veto is going to be, as people say every week, this veto is the most important veto of the entire season. Well, this time for Felicia, it very well could be. And Cirie as well. I actually think Cirie is in greater danger than Felicia is because no matter what Matt says that he's protecting Cirie, he doesn't have a vote. If the nominations stay the same, Felicia and Cirie, it's going to be Jag and Bowie Jane making the vote. Now, I really think they want Cirie out more than Felicia, and we'll talk about that here in just a second as we wrap up. We've got Bowie Jane and Jag talking about how close they have become to one another, about how well they've done here at the end. Bowie talking about how well they compete under pressure. Well, okay. Bowie Jane is the queen of the booth competitions, I guess. Both of hers have been correct on that. Both of them have led to tiebreakers. So Bowie Jane certainly feel like now she's contributing to the effort a little bit. It's not just Jag with all his wins. She's got a few under her belt as well. So she's talking about how well they all compete under pressure as this group of 3 and feeling very, very excited, very proud about her position on the group. All right, we got Bowie talking about all the crazies that they got voted out in the early part of the season. They got voted out by their own doing. Specifically, I think she mentioned Jared and Izzy. I think when she says crazy, she just means people that were playing the game a little hard, right? I'll go that direction instead. Playing the game a little hard, and we've seen a lot this entire season. You play hard, you win an HOH or a competition or two, you're out the door. Even Jag's here, but Jag's here only because Matt saved him as well. This has been the season of laying low, flying under the radar. Coasters, floaters, whatever you want to call them, seem to have done better this season. The people that played hard have all gone home except for Jag. So yeah, she is talking about some of the folks they lost earlier in the season. What a different season it would have been if we'd had some of those folks a little bit longer. All right, Jag is saying that there are two now, that we made it to Final Five. That's it. We're getting ready to make it to Final Four. He's saying, but the final two, that's what we want, Bowie Jane, right? And he says that it's just the two of us now. We just need to get to that final two chair. Is Jag saying this because he wants to go to the final two with Bowie Jane, or is he just saying it for her benefit? Maybe both. I can see Jag being a little bit worried about having to go up against Matt in terms of a jury vote, especially because Jag feels like he's burned some of the jury votes in that house already. So maybe he is looking at cutting Matt loose. Maybe we aren't going to get the bromance making it to the final two. He's certainly indicating to Bowie Jane that's the way he's leaning. Is that going to happen? We'll find out. All right. Bowie is complaining a little bit about Matt. She's saying that Matt told Cirie that he didn't want to put me on the block because I would get too emotional if he did that. She says he told Cirie that, and apparently Cirie said, "Oh, so what do I have to do? Do I need to start shedding a few tears as well, Matt, to stay off the block as well?" And Bowie Jane's complaining. She says, in 6 weeks or however long I've been here, she's I only cried once in this house. So I'm not this super emotional. I only cried once. Well, maybe, but certainly when they talked about putting her on the block before, she acted upset enough that Matt and Jag have just left her alone ever since then. So she certainly has worked her own magic to avoid getting on the block up to this point in time. All right, they're already talking about who should win which round of the 3-part final HOH. Jag is saying, do you feel better with endurance or mental competitions? You're great in the booth, so would you want to do that and have me win the endurance? And as they're talking, it's becoming a little more clear. They don't really understand exactly how that 3-part HOH works. And basically, the final three, all three compete in the first round. Whoever wins that gets to sit out part 2. So the other two compete in part 2. Whoever wins part 2 then moves on to the final round with the person who won part 1. So basically then you've got the winners of the first 2 rounds facing off in the final comp, part 3. Whoever wins that gets to decide who they want to take to the final 2. That's how it works. They're not real sure. They're thinking that someone volunteers, or the person who was on the block right before that doesn't get to take place in part 1. They don't have it quite figured out. So they're going to ask Felicia that. But the key is they're already talking about who's going to compete in which of those spots and who they think is going to do best in each of them. They're all thinking about final 2 and jury management and everything else at this point in time. All right, we do have Bowie Jane mentioning that she's got an uncle, I think, some relative that's I guess a world famous sailing instructor, that she has an aunt who is an Olympic gold medal champion in sailing, which is actually pretty cool to have a relative like that. But she mentions that, and Jack says, "Oh, well, Bowie Jane, that's where you get it from then, right?" Well, her 2 wins were both booth wins, mental kind of memory type competitions. They weren't athletic. They weren't physical competitions, but he said, "Oh, that's where you get your strong physical skills and all that." I seem to recall Bowie Jane falling off that rope spin pretty quickly. But yeah, he's letting her know what a huge competitor she is and how much he admires the competition and how well she's done in all these competitions. All right. There's also talk about Jag's comedy routine plans. Apparently Jag's investigated maybe doing a little bit of stand-up comedy. Maybe he's done a little bit already, but after he gets out, he's thinking he'd like to do a little bit more than that. He'd love to see it take off. I'll say this: if Jag comes down to Houston, I'm showing up. I'll absolutely be there in the audience, and he better be funny. All right, so he's talking about his comedy routine and what he's going to do when he gets out. They're talking about jury itself and how bitter that jury is going to be. They're both agreeing. They're pumping each other up, saying, "Look, Felicia and Cirie, if they're in either one of those final two chairs, they're going to win. Everyone loves those two. They're going to vote for them over any of us. That's just a given. So, in other words, the impression is that we both need to make sure those two don't make it. We can't be turning on each other, because if either one of them's in the final two chair, we're losing out. So we got to watch out for each other. So they mentioned that. They also mentioned that in addition to Felicia and Cirie, Matt probably could beat either one of them as well in a final two chair. So again, it's you and me. If it's not you and me, where there's no chance we have of winning this thing. All right, we've got Jag pointing out that talking about comps and all that. They're both spending a lot of times really downplaying what they've done so far to make themselves look a little more attractive to the other person in terms of going up against them in a final two jury pitch. Jag is doing this. He's pointing out to Bowie Jane, saying, I've won a lot of competitions, but there's a lot more than just that. And he points out, he says, last year Monty won a lot of more competitions than Taylor did, and yet he still lost. So it's not just about who's won the most competitions. So, in other words, hint, 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 you don't have to be worried about my comp wins, Bowie Jane. Doesn't matter at all. Taylor won it. You can do exactly the same thing. So he's pointing that out. Jag also, he does ask Bowie Jane, he says, would you, if you win that final HOH portion, part 3, and you get to make the decision, would you take me to the final two? Have you thought it out? Is that your plan? And she, of course, she says, yeah, 100%, I'm taking you. What else are you going to say? Sure, I'm going to take you, Jag. We'll see if that happens or not. I do feel like Bowie Jane may be a little closer to Jag than Matt, but I also feel like Bowie Jane may feel like she has a little bit better chance of beating Matt than she does Jag. But who knows with Bowie Jane? She tends to say, yeah, a lot more than a whole lot of follow-up conversation. So I'm not really sure where her mind is right now. We may find out in the next 2 weeks. All right. And then finally, wrap it up. We've got Jag saying that he knows that Matt had something with Cirie at one point in time, maybe still does. And he's wondering if Bowie Jane maybe has something with Cirie as well. And she says, no, well, she kind of deflects. She says, the only final two talks I ever had with anyone was Cameron, and obviously that's gone, so it's not an issue. She said, beyond that, no. So she's basically saying she doesn't have anything with Cirie, but Jag is making sure to point out that Matt did. Is Jag going to use that as a reason to maybe take out Matt at some point in time? Not sure or not if that'll happen or not. Maybe more than anything else, it's just a way to push getting out Cirie. It does seem like Cirie is the target of Matt and Bowie Jane. Whereas the target from both Jag and Bowie Jane want to send Cirie out, whereas Matt would prefer to send Felicia out. At one point in time, Jag even tells Bowie Jane, says, look, we're going to, we'll talk to Matt. We'll get him convinced that we need to have Cirie heading out the door. We'll do what we have to do. So they're going to try to get Matt on board as well. But at the end, it doesn't matter. Matt's not casting the vote. Bowie and Jag are casting the vote, which means that Cirie is, unless she wins the veto today, I do think Cirie probably is heading out the door, which is not what Matt wants, but it's what Matt's going to get. So we'll find out. So there you have it, guys. We've got the veto competition today, I assume. Surely it's going to be today. We will have that. The backyard is still open, which means it's going to be held off-site. We'll find out what kind it is. I'll be back tomorrow to give you that update, let you know who's won the veto, and based on that, we should have a pretty good idea who's going to be going home on Thursday as well. So I'll be back tomorrow to give you that information. Until then, guys, enjoy a wonderful, incredible Saturday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.